Hi, welcome to this video. I want to respond once again to some comments I've received by way of the issue related to intentional control and influence, okay, by way of a process in terms of changing perception of dogs the right way. And understanding even in terms of, again, when people talk about, I talk about a baseline, having a level of intentional control on a dog. And again, I talk about the issues about, intent, the issue about changing focus, okay? Engaging in a level of a dog's thinking. Understand, I talk about being dialed into a dog's state of mind that way. This is totally different than, again, those who identify as balanced and force-free trainers. I want to make that very clear. This is what makes this system of training very different, is the issue about being dialed in. It's mind and body. It's being dialed into the relationship, depth of relationship. So that's the interplay of this system, which makes it special. Okay, it sets it apart. This is a original source system. But when people see this, right away, and I understand, okay, because it's very different that way, people want to label the term abuse immediately. Again, not understanding what's happening, okay? They just see a certain level of control brought onto a dog at a certain point of a process, at that point of the relationship when a dog owner is experiencing a relationship problem. And so again, I talk about this issue about, how it reveals, okay? You can put everything I say to the test. Just like, again, when you bring a dog under a level of intentional control, it exposes, okay, their state of mind, okay? It's a type of power play. You'll see as they're trying to invest in or fixate towards a supply source, because that's what happens, and you start to, again, bring a dog under intentional control, it shifts their focus, okay, away from, okay, they start to engage towards you, right? Because that's the type I talk about, type of conversation happening, okay? Dog understands intent. And so what it does is it reveals, but also changes. So you're bringing that level of control, influence to a point of, okay, breaking that connection and dog coming into agreement with. So I talk about, again, the level of control brought on a dog. You see the videos where I'm actually taking my finger and bringing it underneath the choke chain, okay, showing that it's not about, because here's the thing, if it doesn't make the sense of the dog, you start to escalate, you bring that baseline up, a certain way at a certain level, it's going to escalate the dog, okay? The dog's going to go into a high level of challenge. So the level there is the level at which, okay, the dog makes sense of it. You're not, it changes the focus to a certain level, okay? That's what it's doing. It's bringing the dog's focus, shifting the focus to you. And this is where the head, you'll see the head of the dog turn in towards me at a slight angle. So I talk about fading in. Okay, so I'm working off it's a kinetic principle, okay? It's specific to this system of training, okay? I'm working off a certain kinetic principle, okay, which allows me, okay, to be very proactive when a dog is just starting to invest, okay? I just have to bring that baseline up just a bit to intercept. And guess what? The dog's gonna be more agreeable. Because again, like I said, I'm dialed into the level of the dog's thinking. These other trainers, they're not. Okay, this is where that whole cranking and yanking, or the dog is, pushing through all sorts of bad, or change doesn't happen, the dog, and you had still a relationship problem after. So this is about being dialed in the right way. I talk about that. Now, here's the comments here. I want to, even after releasing the 6-part series, okay, going into great detail, you get these individuals on here still going on about, I personally don't understand the constant tension. And then person say, oh, I'm with you. And then this person said, well, they refuse to respond to me, laughing out loud. Why respond? Now I responded. And here's the truth of it. Here's facts. I help dog owners every day, and they figure this out in less than 10 minutes. I know it comes off kind of a little snarky, but here's the thing. I have, and I'll talk about this. I have very little time for the dog training community. Okay, understand that the people that have issues with what I'm doing are the ones that already are invested in this superficial idea of things, okay? They talk about slack on the leash, but I just put out a video, which is a great example. I encourage you to watch it, by way of service dog training with Brody. Okay, Brody was very, before I get involved, very reactive to the scooter, okay, to the electric wheelchair. And so you'll see the first video of me, intentional control, okay, but you see the second video where, I was asking Al, because I said, Al, how much, he has the baseline. I said, how much, control do you think is a lot? Is it uncomfortable for Brody? He's like, well, no. And then he asked the question. It was a great moment. He said, well, what if I, bring the dog, create slack, right? I said, yeah, so when you create slack, then guess what? It opens up to the dog having a choice. Okay, talk about free will, stinking thinking, relationship problem. So we're getting at that moment, we're getting pretty close to the scooter, right? And everything's going fine up to that point with intentional control. Brody's moving forward. So I said, do it. So as soon as you put that slack, watch the moment, Brody pulls right back, starts to go into a reactivity level. Okay, starts to express that, and then guess what? Immediately, hey, intentional control again, because what that does is provides clarity. It takes the stress off the dog because it changes the dog's focus onto you. Okay, away from that's what it's doing. It's that type of power play. It's that type of interplay in terms of instead of the dog again focusing on the scooter, already being reactive, already having stinking thinking. By creating that baseline effect and working off that baseline, it changes the focus. Okay, immediately shifts the focus in real time. Okay, and so it's not meant to choke the dog or hurt the dog. Okay, you see certain reaction there at sometimes depending on the levels with the dog, but there's even accommodation through that. Okay, it's always about meeting the dog where they're at. Okay, yes, there's control. There has to be. Okay, but I'm dialed in. Okay, I'm dialed into the relationship dog state of mind that way. But when I bring that level back and move forward, watch the whole video. That's a video where I'm stepping away and Al is still got that baseline there, just enough that's what's needed. And Brody is lining right up with that scooter, going up and down the driveway. Very, very happy. Like things are lined up fast because that's how it works. There's no barriers, okay? It's just about, because the dog understands intent. Now, these bribery-based trainers understand they're working within this permissiveness, and so when they look at what I'm doing, of course they're going to go crazy, and they want to label it as abuse and going on. They have no clue because they've never met me, they've never been here, they haven't worked directly with the method, and so everything's coming through this lens, right? And so I put it out here. I said, hey, I'll sit down with people. It's true. 10 minutes. I sit down with the average dog owner. In less than 10 minutes, they have it figured out. They understand. In person, I'm talking to them. Here's the thing. You can sit down with some of these trainers who are already, invested in this ideology, and you're not going to convince them of anything. They're sold out. But then if you show up at their training facility, trust me, they wouldn't want me there because I go through, watch my 6-part series, I go through all the collateral damage of this ideology. All of it, the blame shifting, the medicating dogs, all the inherent problems, all unresolved relationship problem. You look at there's like 15 things a list there. That's all collateral damage. That's all that goes along with this package deal. But these are the same people, right, coming in and wanting to complain or carry on about me bringing a level of control because they take a snippet, but watch the whole video. So all to say, I'm clear about the method. I encourage you to watch the 6-part series. It's very clear. If you have questions, contact me. I'll be more than happy to answer. Thanks for watching.